Welcome, Spartans, to Podcast Evolved, part of Evolved, your home for Halo. Halo Podcast Evolved hosts a regional lore series, recaps monthly Halo news. Our current lore series is Infinite Impressions. We're running out of impressions, but we're still going. I'm your host today, David, and also with me is Aaron.
Hi, guys.
And brand new, first time on the show, maybe.
Second
time on the show, Nathan.
Hello, everybody.
Nathan, welcome back. Excellent stuff. So, on this episode of Infinite Impressions, we're going to be discussing the Skymarshal lore. And you're maybe wondering, what is Skymarshal lore? Well, we'll tell you all about it, because I only found out about it today, and it's very interesting. Well, it's slightly interesting. Anyhow, the various other housekeeping bits and pieces. You're obviously listening to Evolved, and this is our podcast. Evolved. This is our main show, where we talk about all the various kind of lores and different stuff that populates throughout the games and media. We also have our host of other shows like Mission Debrief, Build a Blocks, Halo TV Plus, Halo Gear Guide, and Halo Book Club. We also have Halo Headlines, which sounds exactly what you think it is. We also partner with HCS Pro Talk, which is a fantastic podcast done by Josh and Will. They discuss the latest stuff on the competitive Halo scene, and they always emphasize the community every week. So they're wonderful dudes, so go check out that other podcast if you want to hear about competitive Halo. You can learn about more of our shows on our website, which is haloevolved.com. It's got everything up there, anything you could possibly think of to do with us. It's all there. Very easy, very impressive website. We're quite happy with it. If you're already a fan of the show, please rate us and leave us a review. We like all the feedback we can get for any kind of updates we can think of, any suggestions you might have. We're all about it. I'd also want to take this moment to thank our patrons. So we have a Patreon. It's pretty damn cool. The people over there are very impressive. They keep us going. They give us so much. They're pretty amazing bunch of peeps. So thank you all so much. If you would like to learn more, if you're not subscribed, our patrons get like a whole bunch of exclusive rewards. They get early episodes, unique swag, access to our own podcast soundtrack, which is pretty damn cool, as well as other bits and pieces. So if you want to learn more, check us out at patreon.com/HaloEvolved. And finally, we also encourage any of our listeners who are interested in what we call fake books or Audible. You can go and check out Audible. We have a trial link for you here, but on it you will get all of the Halo novels, thousands of other books, and all sorts of other content. It's pretty cool if you're into that kind of thing. So that's audibletrial.com/podcastevolved if you want to learn more. Start your free trial today. Okay. So, last week on Halo, I will start because I haven't done anything. I've essentially dropped off the last week or two. I have not got a chance to play since before the winter update. Which is pretty bummer because I know there was that's a pretty significant update for Halo. Nathan.
Last week on Zeta Halo. Yeah, I have played a bit. Not as much as the week before, but have been messing around with Forge still. Still struggling with my creative artistic abilities, but enjoying, again, like I said last week, using that part of my brain to kind of force myself to be creative and do that, but also been enjoying some multiplayer too. Aaron and I played a bit of Covert One Flag last night and had some interesting times with that. And yeah, just been...
What's it like?
It can be frustrating. Aaron will be able to share his thoughts on it. I don't mind it. I like the strategy of it. It changes it up than the usual just run at people and shoot them. So I think it's been fun to have a bit more of a strategic game mode where you do kind of have to work as a team and think about it. I do agree with Aaron that the energy sword is a little bit overpowered. Like the lunge on it is quite insane for people that are defending. But overall, it's a fun game mode, especially fun if you're playing with people. It can be quite frustrating if your teammates do nothing or are AFK because it's very easy to lose very quickly and they go invisible and you have no idea where they are, and that's about it. But yeah, no, been enjoying that, enjoying seeing what creations some people have made, and just marveling at how much creative goodness is coming from the Halo community right now. It's pretty awesome. So
Forge people are crazy people, but also, very impressive people at the same time.
Absolutely.
Aaron,
Let's see. We did some new winter season, and we did some co-op as well. Um, don't like the new game type. Not a big fan. But okay, it's not that I don't like the new game type. I just said I don't like the energy sword. I think it's a bit much. Um, for the defending team. I don't know if changing it out to something else or dialing the energy sword back might be the answer. It's big lunge and insta kill that I don't like. Maybe gravity hammers or something might be a better alternative, or shotguns. I'm not fussed on that. It's not a bad game type. It has potential. Just also the first map wasn't maybe a great way to experience that. And then the next game we had was on the new map, and I hate getting stuck on the new map then and having no clue what I'm doing. So that also probably didn't help to my enjoyment of it. We knocked out a few more achievements in campaign, so that was fun.
okay, tell me about co-op, because I haven't heard anything at all about it. So what was your experience?
I like co-op. It's pretty smooth and solid, I have to say. Like, the only time I noticed any lag at all is when you go to a fob and bring up the menu for either a weapon or a vehicle. There is a noticeable delay there in pulling up to the console, waiting for the prompt, pressing it, and then waiting for the menu to load. So that's about the only time.
Is it one person at a time at a fob?
No,
yes.
well, the only one person can call in a vehicle, but there are 4 stations for weapons, which it didn't dawn on me when we were first playing the game. I was going like, oh, there's 4 stations. I can equip all the Marines really quick. And then one day I was like, this is for 4-player co-op, duh.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what I thought.
That end of things. Yeah, that's handy. It's fun to play. Like, I haven't had any issues actually playing the game. I think, Nate, did we have like a bit of weird lag in the campaign once?
Well, because I think part of it, we didn't get 2 achievements, even though we definitely did what was needed for them, so that was a bit weird. We did the one where you had to kill an enemy with the mining laser on excavation site, and then we also did one where, also on that mission, where you had to destroy all 4
the towers.
Cooling towers within 60 seconds, which we definitely did, but got no achievement for. But we did get an achievement for something else later, so I don't know if something was just bugged or if you have to have 4 people or what, but with the 2 of us we did not get those 2 achievements, but we did.
Oh man, there is nothing worse than not getting your achievements.
Yeah, but we did get the one. Oh wait, did we get the one for the 15 minutes for the
We got the one for the 15 minutes, yeah, we got that. So we completed the conservatory in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That one was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it plays as well as Halo 5 did co-op wise, which I'm quite happy about because, like, I don't know about you, David, but I still remember trying to play old Master Chief Collection together and the absolute shit show you and me would have, and we're not physically that far apart, but it was terrible. And then we played Halo 5 and was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I never want to go back to playing co-op where one person is hosting the game. I was like, no, all needs to be on servers now.
There's never been lag at all that I've noticed so far. The only other thing that was a bit weird though was that, last week, not this week, but last week I was playing with 2 people, and then one of them had to leave while we were playing, and then we kept playing. We got out of the Foundation mission, we killed Tremonius, got to Recovery, like that mission, and then when just me and that one other person went back to play again, we loaded up that save. It said Recovery on it, but then it loaded us back to the exact spot where that third person had left the game in the middle of Foundation. And so then we had to kill Tremonius again. So that was a bit frustrating, but
that's a bit janky.
But little things.
Yeah, but like overall, I'm fairly impressed with it. Like, I can't complain too much so far. Like, nothing that's like really upset me.
Did you get a chance to test the the distance, the limit?
Yeah,
did that come into play anyway?
We were flying underneath the map in the Wasps yesterday too, and we got pretty far apart because when you're flying, it's much easier to get far apart than when you're walking. So I think we were maybe 300, 400 meters apart, and then it started to tell, I think because I was the fire team leader, it started to tell you, Aaron, like, hey, get back with your group. But
I
Yeah,
like
but
that it
like
warns
it's
you. It
not.
doesn't just do something. That's good.
No, it's the same as going out of bounds. You're getting a warning before it nukes you, so like it's pretty okay for that. Like the range is pretty solid. The thing I did notice is when we replayed the conservatory, then it brings you back to the menu. It's like, yeah, you have to pick a fast travel point because you're replaying the mission. You're not loading into the next instance of the world.
yeah, because you can't just
So
like
it
leave a
actually won't
mission.
let you. Yeah, so you play your mission and then you have to pick a fob that you want to go back to. Whereas when you play the conservatory the first time round, you actually come back out into the open world and carry on into the next area. So that was one little difference I noticed.
Well, I think
Okay,
I
so
think that it would let you continue the mission, like if you're just going to continue the next mission. But if you wanted to not do that mission, it forced you to leave the area and go back to a fob. I think that may have been what it was. Kind of weird.
But apart from that, I can't really complain. I'd like more co-op. I'd like more stuff. I'd like a falcon. Little things.
yes, give me the Falcon in this game. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it worked out well, even if it's a little bit kind of janky. Okay, Aaron, tell us all, what the hell is Skymarshal? And I think for some reason I thought it was like the season's lore. I didn't think it was a Fractures lore. So when I started reading it, I was like, what the hell is going on? As opposed to being like, okay, this is clearly non-canon.
Do you, sir, not remember the part in the Halo universe where the Nazis took over? No, you don't remember
Not
that lore?
necessarily. with the Zeppelins and like the weird mutants. No. I
Yeah,
missed all
like you
that.
don't remember any of this? Oh, fair enough. Right, well, I suppose, did we mention last week's impressions just before we dive into this?
Good idea. So
I
year,
will.
or last year, yeah, go for it. You were involved.
I will mention it. I'll go mad. Last week I recorded an episode. I had Nate, we had Steve, and we had Lucas on. We played some co-op. We fucked about, had a bit of fun with it. So we gave our impressions on that, and then it was mostly Nate and Steve talking about the Forge stuff because I haven't really dabbled in that much. So if you haven't listened to it yet, go and have a listen. It's a pretty good episode if I do say so myself. And that was always nice to have other people on to talk about stuff when they have more experience with it, because it's like us when we talk about competitive stuff. It's just like go and listen to Pro Talk, don't listen to us. So that's always nice. And then yes, we go to Skymarshal lore. So a way back at the start of this season, or I believe not long before it, 343 said that they would do some lore drops with the Fractures, and they were going to like bulk out their universes a little bit. So I'll be honest, I think I would have rather had this treatment for the Tenrai universe than this, because Spartan ninjas sound so much cooler than, or Spartan samurai sound much cooler than what we got here, which is Spartan space Nazis. And it's kind of like Spartan space Nazis crossed with Fallout. That's sort of what this universe sounded like to me from everything I've seen.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It has a weird vibe for
Yeah.
it, to be sure.
It does have a wee bit. So I'll give the quick rundown of what we got. So we got 5 parts altogether for this lore. They dropped a part with each return of the Fracture event. And then at the end of it, they gave you a choice. I believe you could vote on Waypoint, Twitter, a whole load of different places. And depending on which of the 2 options at the end of the part you picked, that's where the story went. So we got 5 parts. I didn't include the choices because it's bad enough going through one load of lore without going through the alternate choices, which I really don't think would have changed a big pile anyway. So overall, before we dive into it, I was meh about this. Like, I like the concept of giving us some extra lore on the Fracture universes, but I think we were talking before the show and I said I would much rather just have like a flashy 2-minute trailer with Skymarshals fighting in the trenches with Mutant Covenant. That would have been quite sufficient for me. Instead of a 5-part novella. What do you guys think?
Yeah, fancy cutscene would have been cooler. Than I know they're trying something different than the choose your own adventure. A lot of people are kind of into that. I know that's like that is a thing. I'm not huge on it, but I thought this was fine. I thought it was grand. It was just very strange because I wasn't expecting it. But I think I'd like to have maybe visually seen it as opposed to reading about it. It's my own personal take.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I'd probably agree. I think, I don't know, there was too many words that I was confused by, like words that you wouldn't normally come across when you're reading about Halo lore, like Zeppelin, and like they like remade what all the acronyms meant. Like the UNSC is now the Unified Nations Security Confederation. It just seemed kind of clunky. Like it was like they were trying to take the core things about Halo, like the Covenant and Spartan-like people, and sort of this, I don't know, and then kind of shoving it into this different environment with different words and terminology. So I would agree. I think like reading it, it was really hard to kind of imagine in my mind because it was so different than what I'm used to, and the words just didn't. I had to read it a couple times to kind of really let it kind of materialize in my mind to really think about what it meant, because it was so different than anything Halo related that I'm used to. So
Yeah, I will say that I am quite rusty on this, even having read it twice. So we'll be
that's what I mean.
limping through this a little bit. Like I will say, if this had have been genuine lore, I would have read it a bit more and took more notes and all the rest. But considering this is fracture lore, we're not gonna worry too much if we're skimming a little bit of it. So you can go and give it a read. It's all up on Waypoint. I pulled it all into the show notes here. We'll just dot through it and see what we think. So, like, this starts off, we have the last of the Skymarshals. They are on Earth/ship, the Space Zeppelin. They are heading towards a construction dome on the moon where the Perpetua, I think they call it Project Perpetua, but the actual ship is called the Perpetua, was being constructed. Then, for some reason, due to the war, this moon facility was abandoned, and then the Covenant have come along and ended up there, and they're trying to retrofit the Perpetua with their, they call it Arcanotech, but it's plasma tech. So it sounds like they're trying to get this ship going to escape, because the Covenant have come to Earth, but Earth is a radioactive, like, shithole, and they have mutated. And now, there is an alternate take on this. I'll get you to talk about that, Nate, what you thought it actually was. But this is the sort of version I got, is the Covenant were fighting humans. They've run humans back to Earth. They have come to Earth. Earth is a radioactive dive. They have now started to mutate and become even worse than regular Covenant. And they've been trapped here, and they're trying to flee.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think I can totally see that side of it too. When I first read it, I thought that the Covenant were like human cultists that got mutated by radiation and then formed this kind of covenant, but I don't think it's clear one way or the other. I think you could read it both ways, which is also maybe something that they could have done better too, to define, hey, the Covenants are aliens. It would have taken a single mention of the word alien for us all to be on the same page, but it's a little bit too open to know exactly what species the Covenant is, which is a little bit disconcerting to me. But
even just one line to be like, yeah, we destroyed the last Covenant ship, but we only have one ship left ourselves, and we're now trying to get them off the moon, then you'd be like, okay, they came here in ships, they're probably aliens.
Right.
Like, that would have been enough.
Right.
So the Spartans, or sorry, the Skymarshals, they have to, like, they're not in drop pods, they're just jetpacking down to this dome, aren't they? Mm-hmm. They're like dropping out of the ship.
Yeah. Feet first into hell.
Yes. They are, what do they call them? Alchemically augmented Skymarshals, so they are Spartan 4s, basically, as far as I can tell. Commander Colby is leading them. They they have to breach the dome and take out the AA guns because they're getting... Some of them got shredded on the way in, and if they have to steal the Perpetua on the way out, they don't want to get shredded by the dome's own defense guns. So their two choices are blow up the Perpetua or take it and go and fight the Covenant. So they're hopefully going to try and steal it. But if not, they're just going to blow up the entire facility on the moon. And now at this stage, because as we get further into this, we actually get more of an idea, but I thought this was going to be like Space Nazi Infinity, but it's not. It's a much smaller ship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they mentioned like the diameter of the dome later, and it was not very big.
No, and I believe they even mentioned the ship being like hundreds of meters, and you're like, okay, no, it's not kilometers, it's not infinity.
No.
Like, this was my first thought was, oh, they're building infinity on the moon.
Yeah.
But it sounds more like from the way and where the story goes, it sounds much more like it's the Pillar of Autumn. It's the Perpetua is like plasma enhanced space Pillar of Autumn.
Yeah.
I think it's significant in that like it's a quote unquote a Zeppelin that is so big as opposed to being like a spaceship that's just also so big. I think it's just big for what it is, but not necessarily big itself.
I think
Does that make sense?
technology seems to be at a way earlier stage.
Yeah, there's definitely a weird vibe.
Yeah.
To how to describe.
Because even if you look at the top, when it says like 10:45 hours on November 3rd, 67 AP, like when is that?
Yeah, they clearly have a different calendar.
What year is that? Like,
yeah,
I have no idea.
That's after the Third World War with the nuking, or the Fourth World War.
AP after something. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's interesting. The team, they're on the surface, they're doing various activities, Skymarshals are getting taken out. They then get a distress beacon from, they get a signal from a bunker, and Colby goes to investigate because it's Dr. Glassman. And
Boo.
yeah, Dr. Glassman turns out to be a German accented scientist. He is Henrik Glassman. He has formed a pact with the Covenant. He's going to kill everyone. What are they doing in this room in the bunker? Are they like about to like nuke themselves, irradiate themselves?
I don't know. I think it's like a radiation chamber. That's how I read it. And he was like, "Come on in,
Yeah.
the water's fine."
Forcing
but then it's
mutation
gonna,
or something?
Like, mutate people. Yeah.
Yeah. It did give me slight vibes of what's the short story with Stolt the Grunt, the shipmaster story?
I know the one you're talking about, but I can't remember what it's called.
You know the one I'm talking about, where they have like the test chamber for the mini Halo, the prototype. It was giving me those sorts of vibes.
Last Light? No,
I'm just pulling it up.
No.
Oh my god, who wrote that? Oh,
I
Not
always
Officer
forget the
Shadow
name
of
this one.
Intent.
No.
Shadow of Intent. Yeah.
I knew it was the name of the ship, but I can never think of it. But like in that, they have like a prototype test chamber for the Halo, and the prophets are using it on like torturing people and stuff. And I'm like, that was the vibe I got. But then again, it's a human facility, so I doubt anyone's built a tiny test Halo there.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't like Glassman, and Glassman gets shot, so that's like a good thing.
Yeah, that was also a thing too. Like that was one of the choices, was like leave him be or shoot him. And I don't know, like if you're trying to compare Colby to someone like John, like some of these choices, I mean, I know it's up to the community, but some of these choices, man, were so opposite to what John would have done. Like John would not have left his team to be like, "Hey, I got a distress call." He would have stayed with his team.
No, but these are, I sort of think of it like these are Spartan 4s. This is more of a, like, I don't know, what would Buck do? Buck might go and investigate, and then Buck would definitely shoot the space Nazi.
Yeah, I'm not getting like indoctrination vibes off these people. Mm-hmm. They're just blokes who are just having a bunch of chemicals in their body to make them a bit super with jetpacks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And like also when I saw that, there was no doubt in my mind of what the community was going to pick. Like, we're absolutely going to execute this dude. Like,
absolutely. If the choice had have been like, shoot him or drive your fist through his chest and tear his heart out of his rib cage, you know we would have torn his heart out. So like you can just guess what choice the community would have made.
Yeah, that's very true.
So let's see. We go on from there. We get into part 3. Oh, was there anything interesting in our German translation? Because Glassman only speaks German.
He talks about Oni Section 3. So that was kind of interesting. He mentions that he's part of Oni Section 3. So that was an interesting reference.
So, he's kind of like the evil Halsey in this universe, and then that's really saying something considering Halsey's history of kidnapping and torture.
Yeah.
So we go on then to section 3, and right now, what happens in this? You may have to give me a few hints here as we go because it starts to get a bit fuzzy.
Actually,
to me.
This is like the repercussions of him going here. He comes back to his team and they're all fucked up and like everybody was dead, and then I think he notices like the Zeppelin taking off or something like that. I think, or something starts happening. He contacts his team and is like, "Hey, where's everybody?"
Yeah.
In the mist.
Yes, they're about to put they're about to put the ship. The Covenant are about to put like the drive system core into the Perpetua, so like they're getting ready to take off, and then yes, the nanobot cloud is deployed. And it sounds like a fucked up random thing. I hate nanobots, yes, at the best of times, but having them in a weaponized cloud form is a new weird for Halo. I didn't mind the idea of a perpetuized or of a like weaponized nano cloud. That was interesting, although it did show that clearly the Skymarshals do not have the best armor in the world, because I don't think nanobots would have like penetrated blue team's suits and mutated them or vaporized them or melted them or anything else.
Yeah, and they had to get these. You had to choose what kind of equipment you wanted to scrap off his buddies. Like, do we want to get the Nocturne goggles or the gummy tube filter?
And a weird choice here, I think, that people made.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have gone for the filter. We just wanted him to have goggles.
The first time I read it, I thought he did choose the filter, and then I read it again, and I was like, oh, no. They chose the goggles. Okay.
No, you want to be able to see the Skymarshals die, not to be able to move through the cloud.
Yes, but you want to breathe in the nanobots. Yes, okay, good choice, guys.
Yeah. Oh well, he was above the nanobots, like he was fine the entire time.
I thought it descended on him. No, okay.
I think he was on a rooftop above it, but he could see everyone else, but he couldn't like do anything because he's then trapped. You know, he has to wait for the ground to clear so he can like run on, because otherwise they would have killed him too. Because the ones that it didn't like immediately melt in their suits or anything else, or melt their armor, it drives them mad and they start to kill each other. So you end up with like Spartan on Spartan violence in the middle of the cloud of nanobots. This is very much what you would call the filler episode of the 5-part series.
Yeah, just weird.
This rolls on. Yeah, this rolls on into part 4. We get the cloud, the hissing of the serpents, Skymarshals killing each other. Not very many people left. The nano cloud dissipates.
It was almost like the cloud was the flood. Like
that's what I initially thought was happening. There was some kind of flood spores coming in now, and that was the real mutation side of it, but it wasn't. It was just a weapon.
It's flood adjacent.
Yeah, but see, in the regular universe it would have been fine because the friendly nanobots would have saved them from the evil nanobots.
Right.
Then we'd have an episode which was nanobot on nanobot fighting, though. That would have been cool, Aaron.
Yes,
good nanobots
I wouldn't
and
be
evil nanobots.
I wouldn't be on that episode because I'd be in my house drinking a beer and crying a little bit.
That's funny.
So
it was interesting.
Now we're down to 12 Skymarshals.
Go ahead.
Oh, shoot. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we're down to 12 Skymarshals now from, what did they say, 300. So 300 down to 12. And now we need to go and get a hold of the Perpetua. he spots the prophet off in the distance, and this is, turns out when you take 3 scrawny prophets and mutate them together, you get buff motherfucker prophet. He's a wee bit OP, do we think?
Yeah, it was kind of odd. Like I just kept picturing like a flood infested triple prophet. That's kind of what came to
It
my
sounds. Do you know what I kind of thought it sounded like? If you took the 3 prophets and merged them with Tartarus, because the 3 prophets wouldn't make a buff thing, but like if you mashed their 3 heads together and stuck them on top of Tartarus, and be like, okay, now we have, and I don't know why, but for some reason, like I imagine this fight, I just imagine this like ripped sort of like human in a pair of jeans and like shirtless fighting this Skymarshal and being like all, bruh. For some reason, that's just like the mental image that came into my head was just this like ripped, shirtless, triple-headed prophet beating the shit out of a Spartan.
I love it.
Like 80s action movie style, everyone's covered in baby oil and glistening a bit too much. So yeah, weird triple head prophet, that's a thing. See, like all of this would have been great in a 2-minute video.
Mm-hmm.
Like lots of great stuff to look at and be like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. So in his little quote there, he starts talking about following in the footsteps of the old ones. Are those the forerunners then?
That's what I thought, yeah.
That's like these guys are on the hunt, and then they've been preparing this ship to go where they're going in the final part, but then the humans take the ship and then they end up going there.
Yep.
So we get to part 5. Is this the part where Colby ends up squaring off with the triple prophet? The rest of the Skymarshals, they get onto the Perpetua, so they're firing it up to leave, and then Colby gets absolutely destroyed by Uber Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
I think he pretty much just crushes his leg off at the knee, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Not very pleasant.
No, it was the Atriox red team treatment. He just like crushed his armor and just sheared the whole thing off. And then Colby's dying. He kills the prophet, doesn't he? It's not one of the other Skymarshals. He shoots him.
Yeah, he empties a full clip into him, I think. I love how in this fractured universe there's still Jackal snipers. There's a spot where he gets shot
there is
by a Jackal sniper with a sniper adjacent weapon. It's like, okay.
That means a carbine. I think that's what that means. Sniper adjacent, but beam rifle would be a sniper rifle, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that fired a deadly arcanal particle. I'm like, just say energy beam.
Yeah, just energy bolt. Yeah, every universe has a lighthouse and every universe has a Jackal sniper. That's how this works.
And then it said later he got hit by a series of crystalline shards. So is that a needler?
I believe that's a needler,
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
And then we get to Commander Aiken. He is in charge of the Perpetua when they leave. Colby dies. Does Colby get blown off the bridge and fall to his death? Or does he just die watching the ship fly away?
He just dies.
Yeah.
And then there's the other ship that they dropped from that the Perpetua like hooks onto. So it was almost like the Perpetua was a slipspace drive, and then they had to like hook it up to their ship and then take off.
I thought it was just a ship in its own, and they took the other ship with them to have two, like I forget what they called. Hang on. It might be up here in the first part. Yeah, so that was like the last ship, so it kind of puts me in mind of like, this ship's the Pillar of Autumn, and the other ship that they were on was like the Forward Unto Dawn, and that was like the last of what they had.
Right.
And they've now fled, and then we find out where the Perpetua went. because it was locked into one specific course. It comes out at a green-brown planet, and then as they sort of start to move along, they realize that there's actually a structure orbiting the planet. And it is some sort of ring-like device about 30,000 kilometers in diameter. Does that sound familiar to anyone?
I know this.
Yeah.
It's a non-natural formation, if you will. It's pretty good.
It may be, yes, a non-natural formation. So that is, yes, the start of Combat Evolved, but with space Nazis then. So
the moon is Reach. And they've left.
Yeah,
they've
so like
left
they get.
Reach. Now they're there, but I would have wanted to know what would they have done if the community chose to blow everything up. How would they have made it to the Halo?
Maybe they wouldn't end the fracture. Over.
Yeah, maybe they wouldn't, and that's the end of it. Yeah, that could work too. I don't know. Like, as a padded out story, it's okay. If I bought this as like a short story, I'd be well miffed.
Yeah, true.
But like, if you put this in like the Fractures short stories, I would read this and be like, it's a bit wordy, but sure, okay, I suppose I can work with space Nazis here. But I'd still just much rather a quick video. Like, the people that do the Halo Wars cutscenes, just get them to do it. That's not Blur. It's another team. They could have done a nice little thing with this. Like, they have all the models there for the armor already, so what do you need? A couple of slightly mutated looking Covenant to fight?
Yeah.
I'd have been alright with that. Overall thoughts, guys, on this thrilling lore?
Same as before. That's something I'd like to have seen as opposed to read about.
Yeah, I'd say about the same too. I think I'd rather just more lore from the actual universe, like what's happening on Zeta, like short stories from Zeta or short stories from the Arbiter, or a short story about what happened with the Created, because that all happened off screen again. So I think when we're in a place where the core universe needs some fleshing out, to me it just feels a little bit out of place to be fleshing out and spending time writing stories that don't really have much of an impact or helping the main storyline progress and develop.
So now the question becomes, if they do this again for the next Fracture event, which I assume they will, what, apart from the obvious of, yes, give us more main universe lore and maybe a little video for this, what would you like them to change about this going forward? I will say that my first criticism is, I don't need so many alternate words for things, because it's just a little bit much.
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me constantly about the Arcano technology. Just say plasma. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I would agree. I think it could be still a Fracture, but more related to things, right? So what if the Covenant did win, right? Or like, what if, I don't know, what's another good example? Like, what if the Didact did create a larger Promethean army and did end up causing more of a ruckus? Like, those are the things that could be interesting to explore that I think would be easier.
What if the Didact composed all of Earth?
Right.
You know what I mean? What if we got them all?
Right.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, like I just think Fracture lore that's a bit more easy to see compared to the core stuff, that it'd be like an interesting like what if series, but not so much like a completely different universe.
Like, if they just did a little bit of setup lore, like you said, I think just go really balls to the wall, be like, this is the background of this universe. I don't need like from a point of view, like a character, like a story like this, but if you had have just given me 5 parts of the history of this universe, I think I'd have been quite okay with that. Like, I didn't need a blow by blow of, Skymarshal Colby here, but if you had told me what happened roughly, how did this universe diverge from our own, what's different about it, and the same going forward, like, if you turn around and tell us in the next Fracture lore and go, oh, in this universe, in the year ... humanity joined the Covenant, and this is the Covenant-inspired Spartan armor that they now possess. Like, give me a quick rundown of that, and that's probably all I need. I don't need like this sort of story necessarily. I'll just take background information and like setup, because that's all I really need. Like, that's it. We're not going to dive into this universe ever again, so I don't need a personal story with characters. I just need to be like, yeah, this is how this shit's different, isn't it fucked up?
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. I think that is.
Yeah, you know, like the next, whatever the next one is, if they turn around and go, yeah, in this universe, humanity joined with Atriox. It's all good in the hood. Like, they're all fine. Everyone's a great friend, and here's your banished inspired Spartan armor. Ooh, banished inspired Spartan armor would actually be quite nice.
I like that.
I do like the idea of lots of unnecessary spikes and things. Make it a bit sort of spiky heavy metal punk. I know we kind of get a little bit of that. We have some skulls and armor and stuff, but like the same way that they changed the Wraith for the banished Wraith, I could go with a little bit of that stuff. Right. Anything else we want to say about this before we roll on?
Hear me out. They make another Fracture event and story, but they give us either an elite player body to armor core to use, or a different species. That could be interesting. Like to use like in multiplayer, right? So to have like an elite customizable core instead of just the Spartan. That might be a neat Fracture thing.
That'd be crazy. That would be unique though. That would be cool.
Yeah, something like that would actually be interesting, but I don't think we're going to get anything that exciting.
No.
Sadly. Right. Before we roll on and pack this up, I will just say, guys, that this is the last Infinite Impressions of 2022. It's it. We've done it. We've done the Infinite Impressions for the year, guys.
Boom. We've impressed. We've done well. I love it.
Yeah. We had to shuffle the schedule about slightly. The last Infinite Impressions was actually supposed to be the co-op review, but we had to shuffle those around. So that's it. There's no Infinite Impressions next month. We will be doing the year in review episode, and then we will have our holiday episodes as well. We'll do a news episode next week, and then like that's pretty much it. We're getting there. Like, we're almost the end's in sight. Oh god, we need more stuff next year. We really do.
Well, we got 2 books, same as this year. We know about that much.
Yeah, well, we do know about 2 books, so I was going to say we know about 3, but we got one of those. I keep forgetting that we've got 2 more then. I don't know. Yeah, well, we're going to have that's my other show that I'm currently working on how we're going to figure that out, but we'll have to have a few filler things. I think we're possibly going to have to work on like maybe a Forge related episode every now and again and do some shit. Because
oh my God. Okay.
Is the whole
we're just going to have to
not going anywhere?
Oh yeah. That's true.
Cooking with Aaron will be stopped on health and safety grounds because we don't want that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You don't want me cooking. Not anything too complicated. But hopefully we get some more stuff. I'm really hoping for some campaign DLC announcements at some point. I hope they're working on it.
Me too. Let's see what happens, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. That will kind of wrap us up, guys. So, thank you all for joining us. You can find all of our episodes and shows on our website, haloevolve.com. You can also search for every unique podcast feed. We have a whole ton of them out there for you. If you want to listen to everything all in one feed, you can follow just the Halo Podcast Evolved on your favorite podcast service. Please leave us a review, like I mentioned at the top of the show. Another special shout out to our patrons. Once again, guys, thank you so much. If you want to learn more, patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved. And finally, if you want to leave us a voicemail, we have the technology. On anything Halo related, please give us a shout on 205 Evolved. That's 205-386-35 or 5833. That's once more 205-386-5833. It's an American number. You guys gotta figure it out for yourself how to call it. I don't know. And with that, I've been your host David. Until next time, Evolve.
Evolve.
Evolved.